You ever think about the version of you 10 years from now? Not the fantasy, not the daydream, but the daydream? I'm talking about the real one, the one watching you right now from the other side of time, the one who knows how your story ends but can't interfere. They're just watching, waiting, hoping you'll make the hard choices now so they don't have to suffer the consequences later. They see you hesitating when you should be moving. They see you scrolling when you should be building. They see the excuses, the fear, the distractions you keep pretending are normal. And they're screaming through time, please don't settle, not again. But you don't hear it because comfort is louder, doubt is louder. The world has taught you to live for the moment and ignore the mirror. But let me tell you something, that future version of you, they carry every result of every choice you make today. And whether they're sitting in regret or rising in power is on you. You're not just skipping a workout, you're shaping a body they'll have to live in. You're not just procrastinating your dream, you're gambling with their future. You're not just choosing fear, you're handing them a life built on it. What if I told you your life is a relay and you're holding the baton right now? Would you run like everything depends on it? Because it does. That future you, they remember this moment, the one where you almost gave up, the one where you almost changed. They remember if you moved or made another excuse, and they'll live with the weight of whatever you decide now. So stop living like it's just about you, because it's not. It's about who you could become if you had the guts to stop betraying yourself. They say time heals, but time also reveals. It reveals what you ran from, what you chose over your growth, what you delayed, hoping life would wait. But life never waits, and neither does the future version of you. They don't get a rewind button. They only get what you left behind. You see, the problem isn't that you don't have potential. It's that you keep giving your future scraps. Scraps of discipline, scraps of effort, scraps of attention. You give the bare minimum now and expect the maximum later. But the future doesn't honor intention. It honors execution. And if you're not planting anything today, don't you dare cry about what doesn't grow tomorrow. The future you is not some mystical hero that arrives without scars. They are built in the shadows of your current sacrifices. They are shaped every time you say no to comfort and yes to your calling. They are forged in the fire of early mornings, lonely nights, and the kind of consistency that makes average people uncomfortable. Because while the world is busy chasing trends, the future you is begging you to build roots. Not likes, not followers, not noise, roots. Character, discipline, vision, purpose. But here's the truth most won't say out loud. If you don't change now, that future version of you might despise you. They might wake up every day resenting the fact that you knew better and still didn't act. Because that's the curse of awareness. You're not innocent anymore. You know what you should be doing. You know the cost of comfort, and still you scroll, you delay, you overthink, while the clock keeps ticking. And your potential quietly bleeds out. Let me ask you this. What if the pain you're avoiding today is the exact pain that would have made the future you unbreakable? What if the discipline you keep skipping is the foundation of the wealth, peace, or legacy you keep praying for? And what if, just what if, your future self is watching this moment right now, tears in their eyes, whispering, please choose me this time? See, this isn't about motivation. This is a mirror. And the question is, can you look into it and finally face what you've been running from? Then don't just hear these words, feel them, because this is the conversation you've been postponing. This is the confrontation your comfort hoped would never happen. But here we are. No more hiding behind one day, no more pretending you have time, no more lying to yourself about being not ready. You've been ready. You were just scared to let go of the weaker version of yourself, the one addicted to temporary pleasure, shallow validation, and silent regrets. Let me tell you something harsh. The version of you 5 years from now will be built entirely by the things you chose to repeat. Not your dreams, not your vision board, not your intentions, your habits, your choices, your discipline. That version of you will either thank you or look back and say, you abandoned me for comfort. You don't become great by accident. You become great because you refuse to betray your own potential. And right now, you're being tested. Not in obvious ways, not in front of a crowd, but in the dark, in your daily decisions, in your mindset when no one's watching. That's where the future you is either dying or being resurrected. So ask yourself, will you keep feeding the weakness that drains you? Or will you finally nourish the warrior that's buried inside you? Because let's be honest, your excuses aren't creative anymore. You've said them all, heard them all, believed them all. But they've never paid you. They've never elevated you. They've only delayed you. And if you keep delaying your greatness because the journey feels lonely, remember this, it's supposed to feel lonely. That's the tax you pay for not being average. That's the cost of building something real in a world addicted to shortcuts. And only those who endure that silence will ever hear the sound of their own transformation. You weren't created to play small. You weren't made to merely survive. You were built for war, inner war, because the enemy is not out there. The enemy is within. It's that lazy version of you that tells you to hit snooze one more time. That insecure voice that tells you you're not ready, not qualified, not enough. That weak inner dialogue that convinces you to stay invisible just to avoid failure. But failure isn't your enemy. Stagnation is. Comfort is. Living the same year on repeat and calling it a life, that's the real tragedy. And deep down, you know it. You weren't made to be ordinary. That's why ordinary never feels right to you. That's why shallow conversations drain you. That's why fake friends, empty goals, and mindless distractions feel like poison. You were never meant to live like them. You were built to break the pattern. And it starts now. Right here in this moment, you have a decision to make. Not tomorrow, not next Monday, not when you feel ready. Now. Because every second you delay is another second that the old you wins. The old you that gave up too soon. That tolerated chaos. That numbed instead of healed. That doubted instead of decided. You have to kill that version of you daily. You have to bury the excuse, starve the distractions. Reject the urge to settle for what's easy. And I promise you, if you do that long enough, something incredible will start to happen. Your mind will shift. Your standards will rise. Your circle will evolve. And the world will begin to respond to the new you you've been fighting to become. Not because the world changed, but because you did. Because you finally refused to abandon the future you. Because you finally looked that version of yourself in the eyes and said, I won't fail you. I won't forget you. I will not let you down. Because the truth is, no one is coming to save you from yourself. No one is going to wake you up, pull you out of bed, silence your fears, or fight your demons. That's your job. That's your war. And if you don't face it, you will spend your life hiding behind distractions that feel like relief, but are really just slow death. You'll scroll, binge, and pretend you're just waiting on the right time when really you're avoiding the mirror. And the longer you avoid that mirror, the more foreign your greatness becomes. Because you cannot rise while lying to yourself. You cannot ascend while you're still anchored to the stories you made up just to survive your past. Yes, you were broken. Yes, you were betrayed. Yes, they underestimated you. But now you're the one holding the pen. Now you get to decide what happens next. So what's it gonna be? Another year of potential wasted? Another month of watching others live the life you know you could have if you just moved? Or will this be the moment, the exact one, where everything changes? This isn't about motivation anymore. This is about mastery of your habits, of your emotions, of your self-image. And mastery doesn't come from comfort. It's forged in discipline. It's built in silence when no one is clapping for you, when no one is validating you, when no one sees the work you're doing. But here's what most people never understand. Those quiet seasons are sacred. That's where you're being separated from the version of you that was never meant to survive the next level. That's where the real growth happens. In the rejection, in the routine, in the repetition. Because success is not about who's the loudest or the most talented. It's about who can stay locked in the longest without applause. So if you're in the dark right now, good. That means you're being refined. You're being recalibrated. God doesn't promote what hasn't been proven in private, and you're in your proving ground. The pain, the silence, the doubt, it's not the end. It's the edge. And those who step over it, who keep going when everything in them screams to quit, they're the ones the world remembers. Not because they were lucky, but because they were loyal. Loyal to the process. Loyal to the promise. Loyal to the higher version of themselves that refused to die quietly. Every decision you make today is a vote. Not just for the person you are right now, but for the person you're becoming. And whether you realize it or not, that future version of you, the one who made it, who's living with peace, purpose, and power, they're watching. They're hoping you don't fold. They're praying you don't sell your destiny for comfort, because they only exist if you fight. If you choose discipline when distraction feels easier, if you choose growth when it hurts, if you choose truth even when it's ugly, the future you isn't some fantasy. It's a reflection of your pattern. And if you don't change them now, that version of you, the powerful one you see in flashes, will remain a ghost, a haunting, a reminder of what could have been. See, we live like we have unlimited chances, like there'll always be time to get it together someday. But someday is a trap, and the most dangerous thing about it is that it feels safe. You tell yourself you'll change when life calms down, when you're more inspired, when the pain gets unbearable. But growth doesn't wait for convenience. It demands sacrifice. The real you, the future you, isn't waiting for the perfect moment. They're built by the moments you almost gave up and didn't. They're built by the days you didn't feel like showing up but did anyway. That's how legacies are born. Not in motivation, but in momentum. So before you skip the gym, before you lie to yourself just this once, before you give into another night of numbing out with your phone, ask yourself, what would the future me want me to do right now? Because that version of you, they're not impressed by excuses. They're not waiting for you to feel ready. They're depending on you to stop playing small, to stop hiding, to stop delaying the work you know you're meant to do. The future you has already seen what's possible. They've lived it, but they only get to become real if you move. And here's the brutal truth. Every time you choose what's easy over what's right, you're not just staying the same. You're digging a deeper grave for your potential. You're betraying the future you, the one who could have stood tall, the one who could have walked into rooms with quiet power and unshakable presence, the one who could have broken every generational chain and built a legacy that your bloodline would whisper about long after you're gone. But instead, you chose distraction, you chose safety, you chose average, and deep down that eats you alive, doesn't it? Not because you're weak, but because you know you're meant for more. You know there's something divine and dangerous inside you that's been begging to be unleashed. But life won't hand it to you. That version of you you keep imagining, you don't get them by luck. You build them in silence. In early mornings no one claps for. In long nights of self-doubt and still choosing to work. In seasons where nobody believes in you and you bet on yourself anyway. That future version of you isn't found. They're forged in the fires of discomfort, delay, discipline, and decisions that nobody understands until they see the result. But by then, it's too late for the ones who waited. Too late for the ones who played small. Too late for the ones who hoped the future would just show up without putting in the sweat. So what are you gonna do today? You gonna scroll your goals into the grave again? Or are you gonna move like your future depends on it? Because it does. Your future is not some random event. It's the result of the war you're either willing or unwilling to fight now. You think this pain you're avoiding is hard? Wait until the regret hits. Wait until you wake up one day surrounded by everything safe and nothing satisfying. That's the price of ignoring the call. That's the hell you build when you silence the voice that says, get up, keep going, prove them wrong. You keep telling yourself you'll start tomorrow, that you just need more time, more motivation, more clarity. But let me ask you something real. How many tomorrows have you already buried under excuses? How many versions of your potential have already died in your delay? Because whether you see it or not, every single day you are either feeding the future you or starving them. You're either laying bricks for a life that will make you proud, or you're handing your power over to comfort, to fear, to apathy. And the most painful part? That future version of you, the one who has the discipline, the impact, the peace, the purpose, they're not some fantasy. They're waiting on the other side of your current choices, watching silently, wondering if you'll ever get serious about becoming them. Then listen carefully. Because this is the part most people run from. The future you isn't built through motivation. That version of you isn't waiting for perfect conditions. They were forged in the fire of every morning you didn't feel like getting up but did anyway. They were built through every silent evening where you chose focus over scrolling, growth over gossip, discipline over dopamine. The future you isn't just the result of your goals. They're the sum total of your habits, your grit, your unseen sacrifices. They are the version of you that refused to stay average, not because it was easy, but because they were finally sick of lying to themselves. You want to change your life? Start living in a way that earns their respect. Every choice you make today is either a step toward that powerful, elevated version of yourself or a step away. There's no neutral. Every skipped workout, every lazy decision, every time you procrastinate, you're sending a message to your future self. I don't believe in you, and if that doesn't punch you in the soul, you're not listening, because belief is not what you feel, it's what you prove. Through consistency, through courage, through showing up when everything in you screams to stay the same. And here's the raw truth. One day you'll be that future self. And when that day comes, you'll look back at today, right now, this exact season of your life, and you'll either thank yourself or you'll wish to God you had done it differently. You'll remember the days you said just this once and broke the chain. You'll remember how you sold your calling for comfort. Or you'll remember the day you drew a line in the sand and said, no more delays, no more excuses, no more playing small. This isn't about reaching some fantasy lifestyle or impressing people who don't even know your struggle. This is about becoming the kind of person you promised yourself you'd be. The person who fought back, who got up one more time, who refused to let fear script their future. That's who's watching you right now. The version of you who knows you're capable of more, who knows you were made for something greater. So stop waiting to feel ready. Stop waiting for someone to give you permission. You are the permission. You are the key. You are the turning point. And if you've made it this far, then hear this. You are not weak for struggling. You are not behind because it's taking time. You are only behind if you stop. You are only lost if you quit. The future you isn't asking for perfection. They're asking for effort. Relentless, raw, uncomfortable effort. They're whispering to you every day. Don't stop. Don't fold. Don't betray me. So whatever you're facing, face it harder. Whatever you're chasing, chase it louder. Because one day it won't just be the future you watching, it'll be the people you were born to impact. And when that day comes, they won't thank the version of you who played it safe. They'll thank the warrior who refused to settle. So rise now, because your legacy is being written in this very moment. And the future you, they're watching. Don't let them down.